What's going on, y'all? Hope everyone's doing good. It's good to have you guys here for another update. Hope everyone is doing good. So we got ourselves a bit of a situation going on here. We got ourselves a couple tropical systems that we are monitoring, both in the Atlantic as well as the Pacific as well. Let's see what we got here today. We have Tabletop. Good to see ya. Hope you're doing good. Sam, worried about the GFS. That is one model. That is one model run. Keep that in mind. You should never go off of a singular model run. But you're good, dude. What's up, Devonte? I think that's your name. Say what's up, everyone. Hope your weather's been getting better. See, it's been amazing up here in southwest Pennsylvania the last few days. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it, my friend. Hopefully you're doing good. What's up, Christy? Good morning. Good to see you, my friend. What's up, Renita? Hi, saying hi, Andrew. What's up? Good to see you. What's up, Abby? What's up, Galinda? What's up, guys? Got quite an early morning stream for y'all. What's up, Josh? It's good to see you. Abby says literally just woke up. I've been up since I think 8 p.m. yesterday, dude. I've been in total nocturnal mode lately, man. I tell you, it's just been all night long. I've been up. Unfortunately, trying to get back into sleep schedule. What's up, Drew? Saying there's only about a 30% chance. Last time I looked for the Atlantic, maybe that has changed. It has, and let's go ahead and hop away over here to that real quickly. So I do want to take a look at this here. So this is our. There's actually not one, but there's actually two areas that we were watching here, as in the Atlantic as well as the Pacific here. The first disturbance here is off the coast of the Mid-Atlantic here. You can just see off of North Carolina, South Carolina here. This one actually, you know what? That's actually upgraded since I even saw it last year. We are now at a 50% chance formation overall. So in the next 48 hours, we have a 50% chance of development here, and then in the next 7 days, also a 50%. Let's see what they said. I know that kind of gets cut off, but I'll read it to you guys. Let's see here. Western Atlantic ATL 95, so it is an invest. A non-tropical area of low pressure located along a frontal boundary 100 miles off the coast of North Carolina. To say 100, I mean 180 miles off the coast of North Carolina, producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Here we go. Environmental conditions are marginally conducive for this system to become a tropical or subtropical depression storm, I should say, today or on Monday as it moves east-northwestward around 10 miles per hour here. East-northeastward. I'm sorry, y'all. It's early. So, yeah, east-northeastward, about 10 miles per hour. Let's see, away from the coast of North Carolina. After Monday, environmental conditions become less conducive for development. So that's pretty much what they mentioned with that system. But, yeah, no, they've upgraded that to a now 50% chance probability. The one down here, we've got quite a big area here, as you can see. I mean, this covers a pretty big chunk of the waters out here. West of the Cabo Verde, we have another tropical disturbance here. It has an overall 30% chance probability of formation. And through the next 48 hours, we are down to a 0% chance. So we're not really expecting anything to occur within the next 48 hours with this system here. Disturbance 2, but disturbance 1 here. We got a 50-50 shot here. So we'll have to look out for that. Let's see. Josh says, I like your stream layout. Thank you. Yeah, I worked on it this morning. Just kind of experimenting with new stuff. I kind of like it too. Not fully done with it all yet, but I've been working on it. Glad you like it though. What's up, Kim? Saying, hey guys, worried about the storm coming overnight into tomorrow. 50, 80 mile per hour winds and a lot of rain. Where's this at, Kim? Let's see. What's up? See, Jersey had a 3.0 earthquake this morning. I thought that was New York. Oh, I guess it's right next to New Jersey, so yeah. Let's see here. Awesome, Glinda. Hope you enjoy it, my friend. Let's see here. That's the one on the East Coast coming up. Yeah, let's actually look at the models here, you guys. I'm going to bring you all over here now. We're going to take a look here at the models. I was actually browsing them before we went live here. So here's the tropical Atlantic. You can see everything going on. This is the latest GFS here, the 06 UTC run we're going to load up here for you guys. So there's that low just off the coast here of North Carolina, South Carolina. Here you can see that's the system that we're watching. This is disturbance 1. GFS down in time does have maybe a little bit of development here. It really doesn't have, honestly, it really doesn't have it getting anything below 990 millibars, which is good. It's kind of in the lower 1,000 range here, likely meaning it's going to stay right around the depression, according to the GFS model. Now remember, this is one model here. GFS does have another low developing. Another low developing here right around the 7th, but it's a little bit too early to tell. This is just a system that we need to look out for right now. But honestly, it doesn't really look like it's going to do a whole lot. It's going to be just north of Bermuda, which is definitely good here. And it just kind of has it working its way over to the north. Now, we do have another area that we're going to be keeping an eye out there for here overall. Another area that we need to keep an eye out there for. Don't want to go too far down the models. As you guys know, the further you go down in models, the more inaccurate things tend to get. So don't trust this. You're probably going to see a lot of people clickbaiting and hyping things up. I've been seeing it a lot on Twitter lately. What they like to do is they like to look at the worst case scenario. They like to look at the worst, time and really, really far down in time. Please don't believe it. It's too early to tell right now, what the system's going to end up doing. GFS does have this thing working its way kind of northwestward here, rolling off of Africa here. Signal, are we back? I think we're back, y'all. I don't know what the heck happened. Let me know if we're back, you guys. Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. I think we had a little bit of a malfunction on my end. Let's see here. Are we back, y'all? If you could let me know, that'd be greatly appreciated. See, we're back. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know what the heck happened. It said disconnected. It was reconnecting for a second, and now it says it's back. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Christy says, I'm super proud to have someone who keeps us up to date with local weather. People try to do it, but it's not nearly as in-depth or advanced notice. Well, thank you, Christy. I appreciate that. I try my best to keep you guys informed. It's what we're here for. But I appreciate that, Christy. You're the best. Kim says, if you look at the low in North Atlantic, it's going to get here to Scotland tomorrow morning. Oh. So I see a little bit of, I see a system here working its way up here by, like, the UK. You can kind of see there. It looks like we're going to be getting quite a bit of a system rolling through. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. But yeah, back to the system here. Like I mentioned, it really doesn't look like it's going to, be anything super, super significant on Disturbance 1 and on Disturbance 2 here. So, as of right now, not super, super worried about it, to be honest with you. But we'll keep you guys updated with everything here. Like I mentioned, this Disturbance 1 here does, like I mentioned, gradually go to the northeast here, with a little bit of development possible. Possible depression, maybe a short-lived tropical storm, but it doesn't appear to be anything. And this storm system is going to be just northwest of Bermuda. I know it's kind of hard to see because Bermuda is a tiny little speck on the map here, but you can see right. Actually, let's get between those isobars here. Come on, you want to. There we go. You see that little speck right here where my cursor is? That is Bermuda. I know it's kind of hard to see where Bermuda is, but the system is going to be just north of Bermuda. So honestly, it really shouldn't be a problem for anywhere. So not too worried about this system here. And that's Disturbance 1 here. This thing has, once again, an overall 50% chance of development here in the next the next 48 hours. And also throughout the next 7 days, an overall 50% chance here as well. So, pretty decent shot of maybe becoming a depression, maybe becoming a storm. But like I mentioned, I just don't see too much happening. But yeah, Disturbance 2 here. This is kind of a little bit more of a long-range concern. Hopping back over here to the models and stuff here. The GFS, once again, I don't know if the stream cut out or whatnot during that time. But according to the latest GFS model here, we're going to go ahead and reload everything here because I think it was messing up a little bit. Let me refresh this here. But yeah, the latest, the 06 Zulu, has this thing gradually working its way northwest. But, honestly, I think we are looking pretty good for now. But like I said, we'll continue monitoring it. Once again, what I was saying before my stream had to interrupt me, is that you're probably going to see a lot of hype. You're probably going to see a lot of people talking about the system here, and kind of showing the worst concern. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this. I want you all to know something real quickly. This is not likely going to happen, okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. This is not likely going to happen, but later on in time, you can see how this model becomes very aggressive. You're going to see a lot of people on Twitter, possibly YouTube, showing that in their thumbnails, showing that just for clicks, okay? Do not trust it. Do not trust it. It is way too far out. You can see this is forecast hour 300. This is well without a range, okay? So please just make sure that you are, knowing the differences there, and knowing what's hype and what's not. But yeah, way too early to tell where this thing's going to end up. But, the models, they do show a little bit of gradual development as we work our way to the northwest here. Let's actually take a peek at the ECMWF here. So we were looking at the American GFS model. So let's look at the Euro model here. We do have the 0 UTC run that has come through. So we work our way down in time. Honestly, with that disturbance, with disturbance 1 that we were talking about here, not a whole lot, really. Because essentially, essentially this system doesn't really have it gradually, or doesn't really have it developing in anything major. However, Euro does have it maybe picking a little bit of strength up as we work our way, well past areas of like Nova Scotia, and out there towards Newfoundland, I believe. Newfoundland. Once it passes those regions, then we might be able to pick up a little bit of activity. But it would be subtropical at that point. It would not be a tropical cyclone. Now, in terms of Disturbance 2, that other system that we are monitoring here, Euro, don't want to look too far down in time, but Euro kind of has this thing going more towards the central North Atlantic rather than, tracking further northwest. So, right off the bat, there is a big difference between the GFS, between the, between the GFS and between the Euro ECMWF here. There is obviously a big difference. So Euro has it going towards the central Atlantic. GFS has it kind of working its way maybe a little bit more further to the northwest, but once again, it's just a little bit too early to say. Then you got models like the Icon here. Looking at Disturbance 1, there's that system that we're watching out here. So we work our way down in time. Honestly, according to the Icon, the system really doesn't do much. And actually, by the time that the system does work its way up here or well far away from, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, it's definitely not as strong here. Now, same thing for Disturbance 2, according to Icon. You can see kind of taking the track as the as the Euro kind of did, showing that system here kind of going more, maybe towards the central North Atlantic. But yeah, it really doesn't have a whole lot happening with it. Now, there has been a little bit of talks of maybe another area of low pressure developing out there by the Mid-Atlantic. I would not be surprised if the Hurricane Center picks up on this soon. Possibly another area off the Mid-Atlantic, because, you can see Icon here shows the first main low. This is Disturbance 1 that we were talking about. And then we have Disturbance 2, but maybe even a third disturbance here. But Icon, obviously we don't want to go too far down in time. But, Icon does show that system. The reason I mentioned that is because other models, too, have mentioned it. Like the GFS here, there's your first system, Disturbance 1, and then there's Disturbance 2, according to the GFS. So that's also persistent here. And then lastly, looking at the Euro, so there's Disturbance 1, and then actually Euros doesn't really have too much on it. So, 2 out of 3 models we looked at there kind of supports that, possible third system. We'll have to see what happens, but, but nothing major, nothing to worry about right now, honestly. All right, let me look at the comments here. Let's see here. No, you're good, Tabletop. Just don't worry about it. I'll let you know if you need to, really keep an eye on it. There is currently no threat to the United States or any other areas in the Caribbean. I want to make that clear. There is currently no threat for the U.S. or any of the Caribbean areas out there. Okay? Let's see here. Glinda says, maybe could I look at Eastern Tennessee for the 9th? Let's see, like on the models, I would really appreciate it. Yeah, I could check and see if we have anything going on out there. Here, let me bring you over here. We're going to pull up the GFS. I haven't heard anything big for the 9th. Considering that is pretty, still quite a few days out. Haven't really heard much from it. So looking at the instability, it looks like there could be some fuel for, going into the 9th here for, possible storms here. But Eastern Tennessee kind of looks like we're kind of out of a lot of that instability, a lot of that fuel for storms. It seems like most of that's going to be for Central and Western Tennessee. Even then, kinematics are super weak. Not even really a lower level jet. Mid-level jet's pretty much non-existent either. Honestly, yeah, I don't see anything going on. Anything big for Eastern Tennessee. So, Glenda, if you've been hearing something, I'm not seeing it. Like I said, looking at GFS here for the 9th, it really doesn't look like anything really big is going to be a concern. I mean, at most, maybe just some typical summertime thunderstorms for the central western side of Tennessee. And given the lack of kinematics, like I mentioned, the lack of wind shear throughout the atmosphere, both in mid and lower levels, wouldn't support anything severe more than likely, or at least organized severe, because of that, that lack of wind shear. So, Tabletop says that third one is the one I'm worried about. No one hasn't talked about it yet. The reason is because it is a little bit far out to look at. I mean, let's hop back to GFS real quickly. So there's Disturbance 1, that's the system with a 50% chance, and then down here's Disturbance 2. That doesn't potentially develop here until right around the 6th or so. I mean, that's about 3 days or so from now. But honestly, it's just a little too early to tell. I mean, GFS does have it picking up a little bit of strength. Euro, like we mentioned, Euro doesn't really have much on it. Icon, on the other hand, kind of going a little bit further to the north. Obviously, there's a big difference there between the GFS and the Icon model. GDPS, here's another model we can look at. So there's that first disturbance. Yeah, I mean, GDPS doesn't even show that second area out there by the Mid-Atlantic. So there's still a chance that probably won't even happen, to be honest. So like I mentioned, two out of the 4 models we looked at, the GFS, the Euro, the Icon, and the GDPS, only 2 out of 4 of those showed that third system. So, confidence really is not that high right now. So, wouldn't really worry about it. Glinda says, thank you so much. I'm going to try to get sleep for a bit. I'll see y'all later. All right, sounds good, Glinda. Thanks for joining. You're very welcome. Josh says the Atlantic is slowly waking up, as I expected. Yeah, like I was mentioning here, a couple days ago, is I feel like once we hit into August, when we start really climbing that ladder in the activity chart, I think that's when we're going to really start to see stuff. And, I mean, early August, here we are. It already looks like things are, starting to pick up a little bit here. But, like I mentioned, guys, I still think it's there currently is no problem. There currently is no immediate danger for the United States, for any of the Caribbean, for anywhere out here in the Atlantic. There's currently no threat. Even for Bermuda, who's pretty close to Disturbance 1, it probably won't be anything concerning for you guys, to be honest with you. So I'm not really worried about it. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Like I mentioned, we have an overall 50% chance of development here for potential tropical activity. Throughout the next 48 hours, there's a good chance that by today or tomorrow, this thing could be a possible depression, or maybe even a storm they mentioned here. I know you can barely see that, but they do say that system to become a tropical or subtropical depression or storm today. Or on Monday here, is what they said. So we'll have to see. But that kind of squeezes between Bermuda and the States, so Shouldn't be anything major. And then, of course, Disturbance 2 here. An overall 30% chance of development here in the next 7 days. Throughout the next 48 hours, 0%. So we're not expecting anything soon out of this here. Once again, the models, they are really all over the place with this one here. They really are. In which, like we mentioned, the GFS model here, the American GFS here. Let me go ahead and bring up my pen here for you guys so I can draw on the screen here. But the GFS kind of had the system kind of going, this direction, which is not, guaranteed. Then you had the Euro, I believe the Icon too, that had it kind of going up more towards the Central Atlantic. So it's just too early to tell. It really is. But there is 2 areas now that we do need to monitor. But like I mentioned, as of right now, none of them seem like a big concern. Let's see here. Tabletop says, so if that unmarked system doesn't form by midweek, then we should be good from that, right? Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, we looked at those models. We looked at 4 different models on that system, and only 2 of them suggested a low developing, in which one of the models even suggested it being further away from you for one. It also pretty weak. I don't think it's a big concern. GFS was the most aggressive, and knowing the GFS, it's a very aggressive model in the tropics usually. So I think it's just overhyped, honestly. I don't think that third system will be really a big concern, at least as of now. Now, if models start trending and more in favor, then yeah, we'll let you all know. But honestly, I mean, yeah, I'm not worried about it, and neither should you. But like I mentioned, if it does become a concern, we'll be for sure, and we'll let you know. Okay. Yeah, but right now we just got to keep an eye on these guys, these 2 over here. Once again, Disturbance 1 here, just located off the. Let's actually see if we can look at it just off the Mid-Atlantic here. Honestly, radar doesn't really show anything. I think we're a little too far away from it. That system's kind of over here. Here, let's see. Yeah, that system's pretty far offshore. So, here, let me try satellite view. Maybe that'll... There you go. Yeah, satellite picks it up a bit more. You can see it. Yeah, so there's a little bit of convection going on in there, as you can tell. Let me go ahead and play this in motion. Let's see. Josh says, let's hope we don't see any hurricanes. Unlikely, unfortunately. At some point of the season, we're probably going to see some activity. So, yeah. So, there's Disturbance 1 here, as you guys can tell. You can see it does have a little bit of counterclockwise spin to it. The showers and the thunderstorms are pretty disorganized. I mean, you can see this pretty broad area where we are seeing a bunch of just scattered storms here. But there is some circulation you can actually see. You can actually make up some of that. If you look in some of those lower levels here, you can actually see that counterclockwise movement here to it. So, it's trying. It's certainly trying. Now, the waters out here, I do want to bring up for you guys. Let's see here. Let me bring it up for y'all real quickly. The waters actually out here are pretty warm, believe it or not. So if you look, so that's just off the coast of, right there between North and South Carolina. Looking at the waters out here, just off the coast, you can see, I mean, this storm's in about 29 degrees Celsius waters, which is actually pretty darn warm waters. And as it gradually works its way to the northeast, I mean, it is going to be in warm enough waters out there. So, the waters are warm enough and all of that. So we'll have to see what happens here. Let's see. What is other websites I use? All kinds of other tropical tidbits, weather nerds, a whole bunch of them. But anyways, yeah. So like I mentioned, we'll continue monitoring that guy here. The one over here in, let's see here. Let's take a look at the goes east full disk view. Yep, so there's that. So there's really not a whole lot on this guy here on Disturbance 2 as of now. But, as we work away over the next few days, that'll probably pick up into something. But too early to tell what it's going to do. Yeah, right now we should just keep our eyes on this guy here. On this one over here, just off the Mid-Atlantic coast here. This is the one that has the main concern. But like I mentioned, even then, this thing will track its way northeast. It'll remain its way just north of Bermuda, and so on. So, anyways. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about severe weather today. We'll get back into the tropics here in a minute for y'all if you're just joining us. But today we got a slight risk level 2 threat up here across portions of the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma, cutting into a little bit of central portions here of Texas, up into southwestern Kansas, a little bit of southeastern Colorado, level 1 threat going up in through Nebraska and South Dakota. We even got a level 1 threat for severe weather today as well. Let's go and turn on those cities so you guys can see some of those areas here. So, let's see here. I think I've already passed it. Whoops. Let's see. Settlement settings. Probably help if my water bottle was in the way. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so yeah, there we go. We actually have a level 1 threat today up for portions of Oregon and Idaho. But yeah, main concern is going to be here across the yellow area here. This is level 2 threat. Tornado-wise, actually, we do have a threat for tornadoes. The only tornado threat area here is for portions of western Texas, for the panhandle of Texas, a little bit of the central western panhandle of Oklahoma, a little bit of extreme southeastern Colorado, and a little bit of extreme southwestern Kansas here. We do have a little 2% chance for tornadoes, so cannot rule out a brief spin-up or two. In terms of damaging wind threats, we do have a 5% up here by Oregon and Idaho. Also for areas out there by South Dakota, cutting through Nebraska into Kansas, a little bit of eastern Colorado, and Oklahoma. Now the big concern here is that 15% wind risk out here in western Texas, where we could actually see maybe some gusty winds upwards of 60, maybe to 70 miles an hour or so. And then lastly, in terms of hail, we actually do have a pretty big hail threat today. So we still have a 5% up here in Oregon, a little bit of Idaho as well. But we actually do have a hatch risk here for hail today, which extends from the western sides of Texas for the panhandle, including Lubbock and Amarillo, which does cut into the panhandle of Oklahoma, southwestern Kansas, and southeastern Colorado. So that's an overall 15% chance out there, and there's a possibility for significant hail out there, where we could see some hail 2 inches in diameter or larger. So that's today's risk here. Tomorrow doesn't seem to be anything too big. We do have 2 level 1 threats here tomorrow, one for South Dakota, western Nebraska, northeastern Colorado, pretty big one for Montana, and a little bit of central northern Idaho. Tornado-wise tomorrow, we look pretty good. Nothing tornado-wise. A little bit of gusty winds possible, a little bit of hail. Going into day 3, which would be Tuesday, we do have another level 1 threat here through the plains. There is no breakdown as of right now. Going in Wednesday, nothing. Thursday, nothing. Friday, nothing. Saturday, nothing. And Sunday of next week, nothing. So we are chilling. Nothing in the long range here. But yeah, the main concern is going to be today. Mostly for hail and some gusty winds and, perhaps a spin-up tornado or two we cannot roll out there. So that is good. It shouldn't be anything big here. Let's hop to models real quick. I actually want to take a look at that real quick. I want to see kind of what the environment looks like today. So here, let me pull up the, actually, let's go wrap here. First, actually, you know what? Let's go back to the HRRR real quickly. I want to see the timing. Okay, so today, it looks like we have a little bit of early morning convection here. Looks like we could pick up maybe a few other storms here by later this evening, like late this evening here. Let's see. Instability-wise, so later this evening, yeah, we have a decent amount, upwards of 1,000, maybe 2,000 joules locally. Okay, we got enough instability out here. Here, let's look at the wrap now. Let's see what we got going on kinematic-wise. So for this evening, yeah, I mean, it looks like we do have a little bit of a lower-level jet here, about 20 knots. Here, let's grab a sounding for southern Texas, or southern Panhandle, Texas. See what we got going on out here. Bit of a cap. We got a little bit of curvature to our HOTOs here. Yeah, doesn't really seem like a very supportive sounding. Although we do, like I said, have a little bit of a lower level jet growing in later this evening. Look at that, mid-level flow is actually pretty decent here this evening. You can see that increases across western Oklahoma and Texas. So there's that. We already know what dew points are going to be. They've been in the 60s, 70s here. Yeah, moisture doesn't really seem to be much of an issue here at all. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to keep an eye out there for it. You know, once again, hopping back to timing and stuff here. We do have a little bit of convection this morning here popping through. This is actually currently ongoing up across portions of the panhandle of Texas and the panhandle here of Oklahoma. And then, of course, you know, that'll work its way southeast throughout the afternoon here. Then later by the evening, it looks like we could start to pick up maybe some more scattered storms, perhaps maybe some big-time hailers could be possible. So we will see. We'll see what happens. You know, it still is a... I was going to say it's a little far out, but it's really not. Yeah. No, honestly, we'll just keep an eye on it. We will. Once again, it's nothing extremely crazy today, so that's certainly good. Let me look up in Oregon, though. Yeah, remember Oregon? We actually have a risk out here in Oregon, severe weather-wise. Let's see. Okay, so as we approach our way into the afternoon, evening, you can kind of see the instability picks up a little bit out here. We could have not really a whole lot of instability. We remain actually fairly low, anywhere from like 400 to 700 joules per kilogram. That's not the most instability in the world, but dew points are actually really low. These are probably going to be pretty elevated storms, I'd say. These have got to be pretty elevated, so definitely no tornado concern. Let's look at kinematics here. So later on this evening, mid-level flow, pretty weak actually, about 25, maybe 35 knots or so. Nothing major. Lower level shear, pretty weak too. Yeah, kinematics seem pretty weak. A little bit of instability here. Let's grab some soundings here. We'll go ahead and grab one up here in central Oregon, because we do have a marginal out here, so probably pretty elevated storms though. Yeah, those are definitely very elevated storms. Holy cow, dude. Yeah, I mean, level of the lifted condensation level in LFC is like between 1 and 2 kilometers. And you see that pretty big gapping between your dew point and temperature. It's a big dew point depression there. So, yeah, but we do got a little bit of mid-level instability. Kinematics, once again, are pretty weak. Upper level shear is pretty decent, but convection will be cut off by that point. So, storms won't reach it more than likely. Here, I'll give a little bit of a better view for you guys there. Very elevated. So yeah, nothing concerning really. Other than that, we chillin'. Here, let's go and hop back to the models. Or sorry, not the models. The overview of things here. So I do want to mention we also do have another 2 systems up here in the Eastern Pacific, hopping back to tropics now. So we already touched up on the 2 Atlantic systems here. But hopping over to the EPAC, obviously we still have Gil going on here. Gil is still currently a tropical storm. Sustained winds are right around 60 miles an hour, 1,000 millibar pressure. Central pressure right now, 1,000 millibars. We're going to continue watching it go westward. It's in some pretty cool waters right now, so it is weakening. It is on a weakening trend. It'll be weakening over the next while here. Eventually going to become a depression and, you know, pretty much die out before it gets anywhere near Hawaii. So Hawaii, not a concern. Anyways, though, we do have these 2 disturbances. This guy over here has an overall 50% chance of development here in the far EPAC. We'll look at the models here in a second. And then this guy, this has a 90% chance of development. We'll probably see some out of it today. Let's see here. So this is direct quotes from the Hurricane Center in the Pacific. They said disorganized showers and thunderstorms located well west-southwest of the southwestern coast of Mexico are associated with a broad area of low pressure. Environmental conditions are conducive for development of the system, and a tropical depression is likely to form in the next day or two, while the system moves west-northwestward at 10 to 15 miles an hour. So overall probability of development is a 90%, and even throughout the next 48 hours, we have a 90% chance of development here. So we're cooking. The storm is likely going to develop here pretty soon. I would not be surprised if it did anything today. Let's hop over here to the models now. Let's take a look at the EPAC, starting with the GFS model. So let's go ahead and take a look at that here real quickly. So there's Gil out there. You can see on the far west here. This is Gil, Tropical Storm Gil. This thing is going to continue to weaken pretty quickly, like I mentioned, as it's kind of running into those cooler waters, or it is over those cooler waters, as well as the conditions out here. It's starting to get a little bit of dry air on the bottom side of it, the storm system here. Not to mention, I believe it's running into some wind shear. Yeah, there's a pretty big jet here of some pretty strong wind shear that it's running into as well, kind of creating that storm to kind of dismantle. So it's really kind of running into every type of problem possible for tropical cyclones, wind shear issues and moisture issues and, cool water issues. So it's kind of running into everything. So, but yeah, don't expect much more out of Gil. The system is rapidly weakening. But there's that other system. There's that broad low they were talking about. This is Disturbance 1 here. This is the one in the EPAC that, they had a 90% chance of overall development here. We work our way down in time. GFS has this thing gradually developing, actually, possibly into a tropical storm, maybe even a hurricane. We'll have to see. And then there's that second disturbance here that could develop right around the 5th. As it works its way here to the northwest. We'll have to see what happens with that system. But yeah, got two systems in the EPAC that we are watching out for, so we'll make sure to keep an eye out there for that. Looking at the wind shear, the kinematics here, it doesn't seem like wind shear is going to be too much of an issue for the storm system here, as you can see. We got a little bit of upper level venting going on, but that's typical for tropical cyclones. It's really these big jets we got to really look out for. Honestly, doesn't really seem too concerning there, shear-wise. Looking at our moisture levels in the atmosphere, there's Gil out there. So this is kind of where we're at right now. It seems like it's going to have enough moisture. Maybe running into a little bit more moisture issues right around the 6th or 7th or so, but at least for the next couple of days, this does appear to have quite a bit of moisture available to it. So, that'll be there. But yeah, a little bit of development out of that system is possible. Would not be surprised if we did get maybe a tropical storm or maybe even a short-lived hurricane out of it. So we'll have to see. Euro, on the other hand, looking at the ECMWF, Euro has this thing also, obviously strengthening, picking up some strength over the next couple days. But it also has it, maybe getting down into tropical storm status. Not as strong as GFS. GFS is pretty aggressive usually. So Euro is a little bit under that. CMC does have gradual development here. Honestly, yeah, the CMC doesn't really have it too much stronger than what the Euro was suggesting here. Then lastly, the Icon model here. Icon kind of agrees. So yeah, it looks like GFS is kind of taking that one a little bit more aggressive. So from what it looks as of now, we could probably see upwards of maybe a tropical storm or whatnot. But let's take a peek over at the main hurricane models. Actually, let's see. 90E it is. If you look at the main hurricane models, there's a little bit of a different story playing out here. Which you can actually see. Majority of models has this thing, gradually strengthening. So yeah, tropical storm definitely will likely occur. And shoot, maybe even a strong tropical storm, maybe a low-end hurricane, for the middle of the models here, you can see. So there's a little bit of a little bit of potential, which this thing could become a short-lived hurricane, as we mentioned here. It would probably play a pretty similar role that Gil did. I don't think it would be. It shouldn't be anything, at least from what I see now. anything greater than what Gil was. I think it'll probably be kind of what Gil was in the past here. Models are pretty good. I mean, in terms of track, you can see there's not much gapping here, so we do have a bit of agreement here in the models, but that is that here. Here's the satellite imagery of it now. Let me pull this up for y'all. I don't know if this is wanting to load or not. Doesn't look like it. There we go. Cool. Now it's working. So there you go. So there's that system. It's still very much disorganized, as you can kind of tell. But anyways. But yeah, so that's what's going on there, y'all. Just wanted to go ahead and mention everything with you guys. I mean, once again, we went over the severe weather. We went over the tropics, both Atlantic and the Pacific. And, you know, a little bit of a summary for the Atlantic. Like I mentioned, there's no immediate hazards for the U.S. There's no immediate hazards for the Caribbean, anywhere in the Atlantic, really. You know, we do got to monitor these two systems. You know, this one is likely potentially going to turn into a depression or maybe even a storm by later today or tomorrow, as they mentioned here. So, you know, don't be surprised if we get a system out here from the system or from the storm here. Once again, overall 50% chance of development here. You know, this thing is going to gradually work its way northeast. It shouldn't be much of an issue for anybody, which is good. This guy, not a lot can be said for it right now. I mean, a lot of models do have gradual development occurring over time, but that's about all we can tell you. I mean, we don't really know where this thing's going to go. I mean, there is some models that hint at going this way. There is some models that hint at going towards the Central Pacific. So things are a little bit unknown right now. So there's really not a whole lot I can talk about with this guy. You know, there's still a lot of information we don't know. There's no reason to worry right now, of course, but we'll definitely keep on monitoring this system here. I'll keep an eye on it. But this guy, you know, while it is more immediate to potentially develop, I don't think it'll be anything big or really concerning. If it did form, it would likely be maybe a depression, at most a tropical storm, a weak one. Yeah, I don't really see a whole lot of anything really, really big concerning out of it. But I just figured I'd mention it with you guys and let you all know. But anyways, folks, well, I think that's going to go ahead and wrap up the morning update. I just want to go ahead and say thank you all for joining. I really appreciate you. But yeah, we're probably going to roll off here for now. I'm going to go ahead and get some sleep. Yep, because I've been on total nocturnal mode lately. I spent up all night kind of working on this new layout here. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys like it. I think it looks pretty good. Probably still going to change some things up maybe here and there, but, you know, at least for now, I think it looks pretty good. So I also got a nice little tropical storm thing in the top left you guys can see here. It kind of it'll cycle through all the storms that are active, but since only Gil's the active tropical cyclone right now, that's that as of right now. But alrighty, but if you guys have any questions before I roll off here, feel free to let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them, but if not, I'm going to go ahead and roll off here for now. Renita says, thank you. You are very welcome, my friend. No problem at all. But yeah, like I mentioned, if y'all have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer that. We do got one severe warning in place. Let's go ahead and take a look at that real quickly. East of Amarillo, 60-mile-an-hour winds and penny hail. I saw my calendar in the bottom there showing 1, so this is the only warning we got here. Got 15 more minutes. Yeah, so we do have a little bit of convection popping through right now between, you know, Panhandle, Texas and portions of Oklahoma. Like I mentioned, as we go throughout the evening, we're going to start to see maybe a few more storms develop, which could potentially be quite hail producers, could be quite big hail producers, so we'll have to look into that. But, you know, once again, today, honestly, shouldn't be anything super massive. You know, just 15% wind threat. Could be some gusty winds in some of those storms. Seems pretty isolated, though. We do have that 15% significant hail threat, and then lastly, that little 2% chance for tornadoes. So that's all about it. So, yeah, like I mentioned, I mean, later on this evening, we could get maybe a brief spin-up tornado or two. It doesn't appear to be anything super, like, significant or whatnot. So that'll be good. Susie Q says, any chance of tropical development affecting the mid-Atlantic state soon? So what we were talking about here is that, so there has been a few models. It's just been kind of modeling around here. So here's the GFS model. You can see that that one disturbance that we're watching off the mid-Atlantic coast. This shouldn't be an issue as this thing will track its way away from you guys. There has been a little bit of talks of maybe a second, or really a third system developing here. GFS wants this thing to come towards the Mid-Atlantic, but it doesn't really materialize into anything big. But, comparing that to other models, the European model doesn't really have that system doing much of anything. Then you got the CMC model, which, also kind of agrees and doesn't really show much happening. And then lastly, in terms of Icon, Icon does suggest that low developing here, but we're not really too sure of what it's going to do. Half of the models that we looked at, we just looked at 4 of them. Half of them say, yeah, there could be another load that develops, and half of them say no. There's obviously a bit of uncertainty, so there's really not a whole lot that can be said right now because of that. But, if we learn anything from, if I continue, which I'm going to continue monitoring the weather for you guys as we always do. But if I find out anything new, if things start trending, another way, which makes it seem like a concern, then we'll let you guys know. But once again, bottom line here, guys, despite a lot of activity actually starting to pop off in the Atlantic now, currently the United States is not under any form of threat. Same thing for the Caribbean. Really anywhere in the Atlantic, I'm not really concerned about anywhere right now. The only thing I will say, though, is that there is a lot of uncertainty with disturbance, too. Some models have it tracking west. Some models have it going towards the central Atlantic, which, this is pretty far out, so there's a lot of things. That can change between now and then, of course. I don't like to push too far. Now, I want to go ahead and tell you, once again, I mentioned this earlier, there's a lot of people who like to overhype things. So what they're going to do is they're going to look at the very latest part of the model, which you can see it looks pretty aggressive. But look, the timing is 294 hours out. You cannot look that far. No way. Because the models are way too inaccurate. I would not look any further than 150 hours out. Which anything past 150 hours becomes pretty unreliable. But you're still going to have people that like to hype things up, and they're going to make all kinds of clickbait and fear-mongering stuff. So please don't fall for it. Like I said, I will let you know if something happens, okay? But right now we're okay. Nothing major. We'll keep an eye on that secondary low or that third low, but I don't see any major concerns for it right now. Okay? Alrighty, everybody. Well, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. Susie says, thank you so much for your analysis. Appreciate it so much. Yeah, no problem. You're very welcome. Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated with everything. Like I mentioned, I'll be here for you guys. We'll make sure to keep you guys updated on the tropics, and so that's that. Susie says, have not experienced a hurricane before. Curious. Gotcha. Yeah, I had a pretty good one last year. I went through Milton. You probably heard me talk about that in the past quite a few times. I feel like I mentioned it almost every stream now. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, Milton, that was a pretty crazy storm. It was a Category 2 as it hit me, which was, I kind of enjoyed it. Not the aftermath. The aftermath sucked. I liked being in the storm, but after the storm, it sucked. It was terrible. All right, everybody. Well, if y'all have any final questions, now is the last time to ask, because we're going to roll off here for now. But, like I mentioned, try not to worry about it. It's too early to tell what this thing's going to do. Once again, Disturbance 1, this guy right here, this low, likely not going to be a problem for really anybody. So, we're not going to worry about that one too much. But, it could turn into a depression or a storm, according to the Hurricane Center. If any of them are going to be a concern, it would probably be the second area here. But even then, there still is a good chance that this could be nothing. And the reason is because some models, once we get to this point here, it's getting too far out to look. But some models have it going west, which we need to monitor it. But some models have, working their way up here towards the central, the central Atlantic. But it's just, too early to tell if this is going to be impactful or not. So first one, probably not. Second one, way too early to tell. It could be nothing. It could be something. That's really all I can tell you right now. Let's see here. So sorry, your hurricane experience aftermath sucked. Yeah, it did suck. We had power without for about 5 or 6 days. It was pretty miserable. Inside temperatures are about 90 degrees, so yeah, it was a little rough. But it's fine. I survived. I'm good. It's just being without power is not really fun, especially during the hurricane season. It sucks. That's the really big thing that sucks with tropical weather is that, power outages are likely when you have tropical systems. And, being in the region for tropical systems, usually it's pretty darn warm, because tropical cyclones happen in warm environments in which, that's kind of the bad part. That and cleanup, too, picking up after the storm. It kind of sucks, too, clean up tree branches and debris and all that stuff. Not really fun. But anyways, but other than that, going through the storm, I don't mind it. It's actually pretty fun, in my opinion. That's just because I'm a storm lover. I always have been. Anyways, but all right, everybody. Well, I appreciate y'all for joining us. Thank you all for hanging out with us today. Like I mentioned, we'll keep you guys updated with everything. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get up or anything because, like I mentioned, I've been in total nighttime mode. I've been awake during the night, sleep during the day. This is my time to go to bed, so I need to get to bed. I need to fix my sleep schedule. Is what I need to do. It's just sometimes I get these really weird modes where I'm awake during the night, sleep during the day, and then sometimes I swap. I don't know. I don't get it. But all right, everybody. Well, thank you all for joining. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, leaving a like. We'll keep you guys updated. We'll make sure to keep you all weather aware and prepared. And like I mentioned, try not to worry about it. Tropical season's here. We'll keep an eye on the tropics, and I'll let you guys know if anything y'all need to look out for, okay? But alrighty, everybody. Well, thank you for joining. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night, or have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Thank you all for joining. I really, really appreciate y'all, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you later, everybody. Thanks for joining. Catch y'all later on.